Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Now I'm up here underneath the engine, right up there. And in fact, actually, number one right here is rolled right down where I need it. But I've got my torque wrench, and the Reliant instruction page, I'm not too sure how well you can see that. But of course, my I&T manual had different settings as well, but this one here just took me right straight to what I needed, because this here came with the Reliant stuff right there. But over here on the left side of the paper, it says rod forging number right there. Not too, can't get that to focus somewhat. And on the side of your rods, there are forge numbers into them. And so what you gotta do is you gotta come down through here and find the right number that matches yours. I found it. R67320. And then over here on this side, it's got the torque specs right there. And so for on these bolts here, it's right there, step 1, 20 foot-pounds. Start with blind hole first. I've never heard it called that before, but I'm assuming it's going to be your top bolt up here, because it's kind of hidden up in behind there. It's a lot harder to see. And so we'll start on that one, take them both down to 20 foot-pounds, then increase from 20 up to 50. Wait a minute, 50 or 55? Let's double check. Correction, 55. Then torque them to 55 foot-pounds. Step 3, torque. Turn from 90 to 100 degrees, and or a quarter turn right there, which is kind of odd. Why not just say and put the right number on there to begin with? Done deal. But anyway, so I'm gonna grab my torque wrench, and it says to take and put oil on these bolts naturally. That way you get your correct torque setting, and then we'll be ready to take and pull them down. Gonna take these bolts out. It says take and put some oil onto them. Let me see here if I can get the camera spun around. Show you right quick. I've actually got the camera hanging upside down off the frame of the tractor. Taking a little oil on the threads, but mainly right around the shoulders of the bolt. And let's see here, that we can see it halfway decent. Right there on that shoulder piece. And I know I've talked about this before, but what that does is, as the bolt begins to tighten down, instead of when these shoulders bottom out here up against that cast piece, hang on. There we go. Forgot to turn the camera. When these shoulders bottom out up against this cast piece, with the oil, it takes and it lets the bolt turn. That way it'll go up to your proper torque spec, because it's got that film of oil in there, in between there, in between the bolt and this cast. Otherwise, it's just coming down dry metal on dry metal, and it's not wanting to you can't get your proper torque spec, because you're just turning bare metal on bare metal. But with the oil in there, it takes and it gives it some, it lets it slide. Okay, I'm going to have to take and put my pry bar here in the flywheel and roll that crank. Let's get it rolled on over a little bit more. There we go. The way it's setting, it's actually up against this frame piece too much. I can't get into it very well. Okay, I just put oil on that top bolt right there. Now I'm going to grab my torque wrench and Trying to find the right length of extension. Oh yeah, we're way too long right there. Let's take and shorten that up. Okay, what do we got here? You know what? I'm actually using a 6-point impact socket. However, the sidewalls are too thick. I'm gonna have to grab a 12-point regular socket, non-impact. It'll fit better. Otherwise, I run the risk of rounding off the shoulders. Okay, now I have a regular 12-point socket. Yeah, that one fits a lot better around there. So we're going to take and bring that one down to, well, my torque wrench does not go down to 20 foot-pounds. It starts out at 25. And so 5 pounds difference starting out isn't going to make that much difference. Okay. Well, you can't even hear it. The ratchet, I felt it click though in my hand and the ratchet head, so okay. Hear that? It's tripping off, so we're at 25 foot-pounds. Next step is to go up to 55. Let me see here, I'll try and show it right quick if I can get my camera around. Gotta find the foot-pound section on the thing, because one side's foot-pounds, the other side is, yeah, right there, Newton meters. Whatever that is, I have zero idea. Now, some of these are digital. That makes it nice to where when you bring it down, it'll beep. This one here is just the snap kind. So we're going to go on up here. I know you can't see it on camera, but you can see all these little marks. We're going to go on up here to 55 foot-pounds. And that is right there. Okay. Now we'll go back to the top bolt up here and punch it. Oh, I keep forgetting to get the camera turned back up. There we go. We'll get punched to 55. There's 55. Okay, now and there's 55. Now, the quarter turn, which is kind of an oddball way to do it. Well, the easiest way to do it is to have your ratchet going straight forward with the tractor and pull it up to where it's pointing straight out to the left. That is going to be a quarter turn. So, I've got the ratchet kind of swung around over here where I'm at. Let's take and hold on to right here. And okay, before I give them the quarter turn, in fact, my IT manual says to do this also. I'm going to take and put a little mark right across like that. And now when I get that turned up and the marker is over here on this side, same thing over here on this one right here, bop around, that will be a quarter turn. Okay, hopefully you can see this halfway decent. But this part of the wrench is now going straight forward, and I want to swing it right straight back here toward me. And it's actually just going to miss the camera. Okay. Oh, I just bumped the camera. Camera's kind of right smack dab in the way. In fact, I think I'm going to change. I've kind of changed my mind. I may actually just grab a regular big breaker bar. Okay. The mark's not quite up over here on the other side yet, so I'm going to grab a regular breaker bar. That'll be much easier than trying to use a torque wrench to tighten it up with. All right, I got my regular breaker bar on the thing. That's close. Let's take another look. A smidge more, and we will be lined up, basically pointing forward with that little mark that I put on there with my Sharpie. So just a dab more. Like I say, I don't know why they just can't give you the regular torque spec for this. Now we're getting closer. One more bump. Let me see if I can take you over there and show it to you. Okay, there's the little mark I put on, and now we're pointing straight forward. That's the quarter turn. I gotta do the same thing with this bolt right here. I'll bring you in for another one of these bolts. I put you on my tripod. Let's see how well that works. A little bit of a different angle. But right now, we're on the upper rod bolt, so we're going to take that to 25. That didn't take much. Jump to the bottom bolt, 25. Okay, now we're going to take, and of course, just like I showed you, we're going to take and unlock that, then dial him up to 55 foot-pounds, right there. That's what I want. Jump back down, go back up to the top bolt. Okay, we snapped. Bottom bolt. Snap. And now we're ready to switch over and put the quarter turn on it. Got my regular breaker bar here. I put the little Sharpie mark on it. Take and throw a cheater bar on it, like that. Okay, that's pretty much going straight out at a 90-degree angle. Let's take a look. Okay, that's got it. The Sharpie mark is now pointing toward the front of the tractor. That's what you want. I'll keep you in here. We'll go ahead and do the top one. Pull up a little bit. Throw my cheater bar here on. And right there is at approximate another 90-degree angle pointing out. That one needs just a smidge more. It's not going to take, ain't going to take much. There we go. Okay, we'll go ahead and check that again. Well, that's odd. It didn't even move. It must have just been the flex in my ratchet. Although I have had trouble with this ratchet head sometimes. Huh. Well, we'll try it again. Okay, I felt it bump that time. There we go. Okay, now we're back going straight again. Well, I'm going to keep tightening these up. You see a few, you've seen them all. So I'll bring you back in when I'm done. All right, I just got done getting all the bolts torqued down on all the rod caps. So that's got that. Finished up there on number 6. So Next thing I got to do is get the oil pump out because it goes right there, and start getting that thing put together. So I'll get that dug out and get to work putting the oil pump back into it. Right here's the oil pump. Got to sit on this pallet. Of course, right there's your sump draw. I think I told you, the guy that did the engine head work, I ran this up. I let him check this out also. He took it apart and set everything inside. Good, nothing wrong. Because I've had a couple other people tell me that they've checked theirs out and they said they end up getting a lot of wear inside. But when he popped it all apart, he said everything was right on spec, right where it needed to be. So, kind of surprised. But hey, I'm not, for 8,500 hours, I'm not going to complain none. That works. Now I've just got to get my lights set up and get ready to start putting it up underneath the tractor. Right here are the bolts that hold the oil pan in place. That's why I keep a piece of cardboard laying here underneath the engine. That way if anything falls down, or you can also even just take and lay the bolts on it. It's not right smack dab down all the dirt and crap. So we'll get the pump stuck up inside there, and that should have it. Alrighty, let's see if we can get the oil pump stuck up on here. The two front holes that go into the casting here and right here, they got a little tat, or like a little pipe piece stuck down, or a bushing basically. This thing does have a little bit of weight to it. Gotta watch don't smack the camera too. Okay, there's that one. Of course, gotta make sure everything all lines up. Back here on that gear. Okay, I got one bolt started. Now trying to see the gear. I'm actually going to take and turn the motor. That way I can, because right now number 6 rod cap is right in the way, blocking my sight to be able to see that drive gear on the back of it. Let's see if I can turn this without busting right into the camera with my pry bar. Okay, that's got it rolled up and out of the way. That way, the gear on the back of the crank, probably can't see it too well on camera. Let me see here if I can grab a light and show you. Ah, there, well, maybe. Well, okay, yeah, you can sort of see it back in there. But there's a gear back on the back of the crankshaft that drives that oil pump. So I just got to get them lined up now. Go ahead and get both of the front bolts in. The front bolts are actually just a little bit longer than the back bolts are. And so I'll probably get me a ratchet with an extension. That way I can start drawing up with the front bolts, since it's got to go up around those little stub pieces, the little pipe deals. And then that way I can make sure I roll this gear. That's actually like a little cover, and get it lined up to the drive gear on the back of the crank. Well, you know what? I just thought of something. Now that I'm looking at it, that's got a big gear up there on that crank, and the gear on the oil pump's not real big. When this tractor's running full throttle, that oil pump is flying. Because big drive, small driven goes fast. Small driven, big driven, small drive, it wouldn't go very fast at all. But yeah, here it is. It's a big drive gear up on top, small driven gear on the oil pump. That thing's really humming around pumping oil. So I'm gonna grab me a ratchet and a socket. Kinda gotta stagger back and forth from left to right, getting this thing pulled up here. And trying to keep a close eye on those gears back there to get them things to mesh together. I looked in my, okay, there we go. The gears are now meshed together. That's got it. I looked in my I&T manual, and it said for these oil pump bolts to take and torque them down to 20 to 25 foot-pounds. They're a 3/8 bolt, and so I'll take and put them down to 25 foot-pounds, and that'll have it. Okay, a little bit more pull by hand before I put the torque wrench onto it, and then I gotta get the back bolts spun in, and then we'll be ready for the torque wrench. Okay, got the torque wrench here. We'll go ahead and start on that back one. I've already got them pulled down by hand, just snugged up. There's 25. It don't make much click when you got the torque setting pretty low. There we go. Now we'll jump over to the left-hand side and do the same thing. Oh, I mean right-hand side, not left. Okay, here's the rest of the oil pump assembly. Got these two pipe tubes. This one here comes, well, that end comes out of the oil pump, and this big piece right here screws into there. And then, let's see here. Oh, this pipe goes in something about like that, if I remember correctly, because it's pushing oil everywhere. So now there's a gasket that goes right here, and now I've got to go gasket hunting trying to find it. I'm guessing it's inside this big box here. The head gasket, valve cover, all that kind of stuff is. And let's open up the old box here and take a look. Maybe I can stick you on the forklift mount. There we go. Okay, this end down here I think is one that's already open. Huh. Well, I thought anyway. Guess not. Had it right the first time. In fact, right there, that green one, that's what I need. Okay, there's the head gasket. We'll set that guy off over there. In fact, I'm curious about some. These are usually directional. It'll say like this side up through the plastic, though I'm not seeing much. Well, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Okay, here are the gaskets for, oh, that's for the intake on the intercooler. Don't need that right now. And these little guys right here. Not sure yet. I wish they'd actually have it labeled. Of course, see, they got gaskets. It's a universal set, so It's got additional gaskets for everything else. And or probably, for example, if you're going to be doing a front and rear main seal, all that kind of good stuff. Just a part number. Okay, here's what I'm wanting. Let me get that dumb thing opened up. There we go. You just got to be careful that you don't go and cut into it and actually cut something. That would not be good. Okay, right there appears to be the valve cover gasket. And this big guy here is the oil pan gasket, I think. Looks like they got 2 oil pan gaskets. That right there, well, this one right here is a gasket, and then this one right over here is a big gasket. But like I say, it's for a 466 motor, so this would probably actually also match up to of course, naturally the 40 series, the 50, and then probably the 50, 55, and I would assume 60 series. So, okay, there's that guy. That's what I need. Take and clean this here off, because when the one tube comes out of the oil pump, well, it's actually the tube coming from the oil pump where it pumps the oil from the out of the pump, and then coming up and goes into what I call like a divider, and it's pushing oil up them 2 holes. Then there's another pipe coming over, and then going up over on this side. I don't know if that's supplying oil up to the head, maybe. But we'll get this all wiped off here. I've already scraped it with scrapers. Just a little bit of old oil residue kind of soaked around there. We'll get the gasket put back on. There we go. Now if I can get that one bolt there on the left side to start. Okay, that one started. Get the other bolt up here, lined up. There we go. Now I'm not going to take and tighten this thing down. I want to leave it loose, that way I can get both them tubes put into it. Because I'm going to need a little bit of wiggle room to get from the pump over to here, and then from here, kind of comes out, then elbows, and then goes up on the right-hand side of the engine. And there's a hole up that way it plugs into. I am going to take and put a little bit of oil right around them little O-rings in there. Okay, got some up on those. Now we're ready to just take and plug the first pipe here on. It's this guy here. Let's see here. It's got to plug into the pump first before it can thread on this end. I did forget there's a gasket right there. Need a little bit of oil on. Okay, come on, get in there. Well, I thought anyway. Huh. There we go, finally. Now I can't turn around. I can't go back that way. It's hitting the sump going that way. There we go. This is why I did not tighten that piece right there up. Okay, let's see if that's going to thread in. Okay, I think, nope, guess not. I thought we had started. Okay, well, after enough fooling around with it, I finally got them threads lined up. I'm not going to tighten that thing down all the way. Now I got to get this hose. I thought this tube here came out and went up maybe to the head. I think that's actually where these two holes here go. This one here I think actually goes over and up to the oil filter from what I'm seeing. So we'll get that one put in now. Okay, here's this tube. Now the fun job. That's got to go plug up inside the block over there, like that. And, I may do a little finagling with it. You know what, that may actually have to go on as I put this here on in order to get the dumb thing to line up. Because it's got a hole right there in the block, but we're not getting enough room to fall in. Or take this bolt here out and let that pivot, then bring it back in. Probably about the easiest way to do it. And we'll see what we can do. Okay, the upper part of that tube is popped up into the, well, it's basically the oil filter plug part up here on the side of the block. And that's not going to line up. For some reason, this here's not wanting to pop into that O-ring.